The more I use Oracle Database 23C, the more I like it. One of the nicest and coolest feature I just found out this morning was this new DB developer role. If you have worked with Oracle database for some period of time, you would notice that whenever a developer comes to you and asks you for privileges in the database, not only on his own schema but also some of the dictionary views, it's always very hard to figure out. And then in the rush of things, especially on the development databases and test databases, you end up assigning developers a lot of powerful privileges, even DPS. And you'll be surprised to hear that developers having DBA privileges is more common than you would think. And very often, a lot of audits find out that the developers have been granted the DBA role or more elevated privileges that what are required by the application development. But with the introduction of this new DB developer role, I think a lot of those issues will be resolved. This role is geared towards application developers. And by the way, when we say role here, it is just a collection of privileges in the database. So Oracle has created this pre-built role, which is DB developer role in this database. It has some set of privileges which are more than enough for developers. Now, as I said, this is more for the application developers. It works on the basis of least privileges and ensures greater security for any usual development environment. It might not cover all the environment, but still, I think for most of the usual regular use cases, this should be more than enough. Now, as I said, this will be very good for audit. So when you assign it or deassign it, you know what you are giving to the developers. So if you're using these best practices across your development test and prod databases where your developers have this role, you know what you have assigned. Okay. But make sure that you don't assign more privileges on top of that role. I think I read in the documentation somewhere in Oracle documentation that you cannot assign more roles and privileges. I don't think so. In my testing, I found out that you can still assign more privileges on top of that role. Okay. Now it's very easy, as I said, that it already contains all the required privileges. So all you need to do is to assign this role, and then in if you want to remove it, instead of removing all the single privileges one by one, you just simply remove this role. And in order to assign it, the command is very familiar: grant the role name, which is DB developer role, and your developer's username. So very simple but very powerful, I would say. I hope that you also appreciate the usefulness of this new feature. If you have any experience with this, or if you think that this will be beneficial to you, please feel free to share the use case. Thank you.